Good evening, everyone. We'll give everybody a second to get in here. Hello, Brian. Hello, Hero. Hello, Mel. Hello, Adria. Hello, Irish. Welcome to the chat. I told Blametag when he asked if you were going to be on tonight, you said you didn't want to steal his thunder, but you would be in the chat. Adria, that Mr. Jimmy thing is effing nuts. That is crazy. Absolutely. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Adria is a huge Led Zeppelin fan, and I just discovered like 2 days ago that there's this guy from Japan who decides he wants to be Jimmy Page, and which is a guitar player for Led Zeppelin, if you do not know, and it's crazy. The guy's really, really good, but it's wild. So, having said that, Blametag said hello.
Hi, how's it going?
So, can everybody hear Blametag? Just want to make sure.
Since she's here, I'd like to say Adria really killed it with the coverage on the merger, Kroger and Albertsons.
Yes, she did.
If you're not following her on Substack Proletariats, go check that one out, especially.
Yeah, Adria's stuff's top notch. Hell of a rider, hell of a router. So tonight is kind of like it's a hybrid retail war zone therapy session. Just basically because of the red background, and it just matches. What's up, Erica? Good to see you. And you're welcome, Adria. But we're going to go over a little bit of stuff that's kind of went on, just to give you some pretense or pretext or whatnot. Blametag and I have noticed since the inception of what we've done, and also the inception of, let me get this out of the way, our sponsor, The Serving Times, proud sponsor of the Retail War Zone, 2023 Pulitzer Prize winner for the article Watley's Recession, and it's also an AI-free publication. The link to The Serving Times in the description of the video. Please go check it out. If you have not subscribed to him on Substack, do it because you're missing out. But also subscribe to Adria as well. There's been a lot of things that we've covered via, whether it be here on the War Zone or things that Mr. Matt Starr has covered satirically with the Serving Times, that real conveniently, all of a sudden, within a very small time frame, major news outlet is talking about the same shit. Now, look, we're not exactly refined here, and I know we're not everybody's cup of tea, but conspiracy or coincidence. But before we get into that, Blametag gets to do a victory lap. Take it, sir. Do your thing.
Oh my God, I had almost forgotten, even though I made it a point to ask to be able to do it. So I'm sure everyone has seen the stories by now because it's been picked up by the mainstream media, finally, that the NRF, National Retail Federation, are a bunch of filthy fucking liars, and that basically, I don't know if Retail Drive picked up on it first, but just the math on how much of shrinkage was due to organized retail crimes. They were saying it was about 50%, and in reality it's about 5%, and that math just didn't math at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that got picked up by the mainstream media finally, who have been enabling the lies the whole time by, just taking them at their word. So yeah, fuck the NRF. They're eating a whole big plate of shit, and they have earned it. And they're trying to weasel out of it that it was a misunderstanding, but they're the ones pushing these numbers. That's not a misunderstanding. That they knew that shit wasn't true.
That is correct. And believe it or not, that ties into what we're talking about. Welcome, Mad Dog. Good to see you. So let's go back a ways when we had Sean William Brown on the show, who is a certified 110% legit loss prevention employee. One thing that companies try to tell you at the store level, Mad Dog, I'm sure you remember this as well, They like to tell you that there's a 60-40 split in shoplifting, and it's 60% internal and 40% external. However, when we had Sean on the show, I asked him that, and, because I've never seen in my career that percentage be correct. And it was really more external than internal for those of us on the ground. Okay. So there's that part of it. Now, I did an article with, I think, I can't remember which one it was. It might have actually been the Vox article where they were talking about theft that I did with Wizzy Kim. But one of the things I brought up that the media is also not covering that was left out of the article are the amount of managers out there who are taking damages and writing them off as theft because the media has, made it seem that theft is so out of control. So instead of blaming our employees for damages or customers for damages, we're writing it off as theft. So there's that. Also, too, to couple with that, we discussed on an episode a long time ago. Now, Blametag did his research. I did not. I'll be honest with you guys. I have felt like garbage all day. I woke up with a sore throat yesterday. Today it's been terrible. So it's a miracle I'm functioning right now. But we did an episode a while back where I explained that these companies are talking about theft, but they budget for it. There's a shrink reserve. Every major retailer has a shrink reserve for every individual location.
You know what's funny about that is, do you remember the show Daria from the 90s?
Yes, I do.
There's an episode where they take a field trip to the mall and they explain shrink and how it's like a part of their operating budget. So this isn't like new information. Like fucking Daria knew that shit.
Oh, exactly. Now, looking at the chat, this is amazing. Mad Dog says their boss wants to code theft as damages. I have never seen that ever in a million years. And the reason I say that is because if your damages are too high, most companies look at it as mismanagement. And, that was also part of some of the reporting that I've seen talking about stores claiming damages, conveniently, of course, as theft. And, what was the percentage, Blametag? Did you say 5%?
I don't have the exact numbers, but yeah, I think it was 5%, or it was closer to 5% than 50.
Okay, so 5%, when you look at your sales, where I come from, all right, and, working in retail and running stores, 4% was considered a blowout, and 4% was considered extremely high in your store.
Oh, well, when I say 5%, it was 5% of theft is organized retail crime. So it wasn't 5% of all losses. It was just 5% of theft.
Yeah. So, but all right. So see, that's the thing too. We have to discern the difference there. Organized retail crime, like say, for instance, when I worked for Marshalls, organized retail crime was a group of 5 or 6 individuals that was running through North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, walking in, cutting cables on Michael Kors purses and stuff like that, loading them up and walking out. So that is something that needs to be clarified even from the NRF. So 5% is organized retail theft. Okay. They use that as an excuse, for a lot of different things. So think about this from an employee as a controllable expense standpoint. Say you're working in a Walgreens, okay? And Walgreens has decided we're going to put cases up and we're going to lock everything up. Well, they've got to cut that cost somewhere, and it comes from people. If they think that causes less theft, they can have less people on the floor. And once again, the employees are the ones who lose out. and it's just ridiculous. Um, Erica says
I just
Kroger took the option of warehouse damage out the removed from inventory options a little while back, taking the current reporting of organized retail theft into account. That's no coincidence. There you go. So you're not claiming warehouse damage. You've got managers out there claiming it is theft. So it's like Adria said, they're absolutely prepared for a certain amount of shrink. They are. Absolutely. And so now I guess the big question is, you got the NRF backtracking. So what was the purpose? Financials were the purpose. They need an excuse to talk about why their profit margins aren't so high.
I remember the case with Target, and another great Substack is Popular Information are the ones who broke the thing about Target is that they were inflating the numbers so as an excuse to close stores.
Correct.
And it's just that stores weren't as profitable as the bigger stores, and they were just kind of lying about these stores have a higher percentage of theft when they didn't.
And I would suspect that they are also, if you went and looked at the details, that those Targets that are closing are in urban markets, correct?
I believe most of them were in New York, possibly San Francisco. I'd have to look up the article again.
San Francisco, where they changed the shoplifting laws to where you can't prosecute unless it's over $900. So they're using everything they can to shut things down to make them look okay when it comes down to profitability. That's really what it is. So let's see what we got here.
I did just look it up just to clarify. Again, who knows with these numbers, but supposedly it's 37% of shrink is from external theft, and then they claim another 29% is employee theft.
Okay, so 37% is external.
Yeah.
20-something odd percent is internal. What's the rest?
Theft. The rest is just damages and inventory discrepancies and stuff like that.
Okay, so that proves the theory. So, a little bit.
Again, these are still NRF numbers, so who the hell
right.
knows?
But the NRF has basically disproved the old adage that 60-40, 60% internal, 40% external. They're saying that the external is higher than the internal. That is unheard of in this industry because every district manager I've ever had, my entire career, would stand on a podium and tell you that your employees steal more than customers. And, if you're familiar with the term grazing, people just stealing a candy bar, stealing a drink, blah, blah, blah. I've never seen it. I've never seen that shit.
Well, I find those empty candy wrappers all over the place, but I don't think that's any kind of significant percentage of our inventory loss.
Right. Let's see. What is this here? Mad Dog says where she works, we don't code theft anymore. So instead of just throwing packages away, he wants us to put them in a damaged. It's not accurate. Yeah, that's a little weird. I don't understand that one unless they're just trying to account for missed merchandise. That sounds like an inventory thing. Brian says, my store doesn't have a theft option when we find empty boxes. He tells us to throw them away. Okay. They don't have a theft option. You're throwing away. What's going to happen is when you reconcile your inventory and you inventory your store, that's just going to show up as a shortage. So I kind of understand that.
Up until like a year ago, that's what they had us doing too. And we only just started reporting. And I don't think that's the company. I think that was just our store. But we only just started reporting theft like a year ago.
Yeah, that's another thing I'd like to see is the amount of companies who decided to start really, really reporting theft when, the whole lexicon of retail organized theft. Because, Blametag, this. There's companies out there who said, oh, well, this is all over the media. We can claim this and we can use it to do all sorts of different things, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. Let's see. Erica says stores want to claim this huge surge in theft, but don't enter it as theft in the handheld. Hypocrite says fine. Yes, correct. They want to. Also, too, there's companies out there probably saying that it's theft, from a PR standpoint, but at the store level, they're not recording it as that.
It's like the old meme, where these numbers come from? Dude, trust me.
100% is it's the whole dude. Trust me.
Yeah.
And as Adria says, an excuse to lower wages and raise prices. That's 100% correct because all this goes hand in hand. All right, so you got the NRF saying, that they're retracting, but for the longest time, theft was high, right? They raised prices. So it's no coincidence that when the NRF, now Blametag, I don't know if you thought about this or not, the NRF admitted that, there was a misunderstanding when the reports came out that they've investigated and corporations have been falsely raising prices.
I don't remember the dude's name who first said it too, and they hung that guy out to fucking dry on the 50% thing. I wish I remembered what his name was. But yeah, it's a misunderstanding.
Yeah. So we had major studies, major investigations saying that guess what? The price increases were from greed. They weren't from theft. So how convenient right now, as the wheels come off the wagon of the charade, the NRF all of a sudden said, our bad. It was a misunderstanding. It's not really this bad. Right at the exact same time when it's been proven that corporations are raising prices fictitiously, so to speak, and blaming theft and blaming whatever.
It's very shocking revelation.
Right. All of us on the ground, we know this shit. We knew it. We knew it, eons ago. And that's, I'm gonna go through the chat here real quick, and we're gonna go into the meat and potatoes of the episode here, because all this ties in at this point. Let's see. Here is a show of hands. Does anyone's place of employment still have a store use option in their inventory system? Anybody out there? We'll see what the chat does. Erica says anyone who unloads trucks can clearly see where most of the damages come from. Amen. Amen. Warehouse bullshit causes a lot of waste. And we've looked at pictures. We've talked about this. Cranky has shared pictures with us. There's our warehouse crews aren't doing the stores any justice. Hey, look, I've got 17 cases of canned milk, and I'm going to stack them on a box of instant potatoes that's in a pouch. Yeah. What are you doing? And Blametag, that goes back to my whole, one of the first Substack things I wrote about how there should be warehouse training, right? But we got Irish says, so they inflated their theft figures more than their prices. Never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by incompetence. This isn't surprising to anyone familiar with retail. And that's why we're here. Big Quit Energy, good to see you. I saw that you took a break from Twitter/X. It is good for you. I really am only on there to post random stuff. So, blue sky's kind of the way. And let me get that out of the way. My social media presence is pretty low these days. I just don't have time for nonsense. So, but we're going to get into some, what's the word? Soothsayer kind of stuff. Some predictions of the future. I mean, instead of Nostradamus, is it Blametag Damus? So
but before that, let me say thank you and hello, Big Quit Energy.
Yes. And I don't know if they're in the chat. There was someone on X when I posted this that was like, Steve and Irish are great, but I really, really hope I can ask a Blametag a question. I hope they're here. And if you're the person that I'm talking about, say so in the chat. Ask Blametag a question. He'll answer anything. Well, just about
Sometimes
anything.
I feel I'm still a little bummed about losing the Twitter community, but yeah, I had to get off there.
Hey, look, let me tell you something. So I'm over there. I'll post cat pictures and stuff from time to time. but it's still a shit show. You ain't missing anything. I really, I'll go on it and look and see what's going on, and I'll respond to stuff that's appropriate to respond to. But I don't spend my time scrolling over there anymore. Social media has just gotten under my skin so much that I'll use it to let people know what we're doing, and I'll use it to communicate with some people. But that's about it because it's just worthless at this point. So, having said that, so topic at hand. You look at the screen below me, the all-knowing, all-seeing blame tag, and other coincidental coverage of our material. Now, blame tag really is kind of like the retail version of The Simpsons. At least that's how I see it, because there's so many Simpsons predictions that have come true, and it's kind of uncanny. So I'm going to shut up, and I want you to go through your list of accomplishments and predictions, and let us kind of know how that turned out.
Well, I mean, just because I have the list here of everything I was able to find. You want to just read through the list?
Go ahead. I mean, drag it out. Give it some emphasis and whatnot. Get your flowers, blame tag.
All right, so I'm gonna go start from the earliest, and I don't have an exact date on this, but it was a Warzone episode where I had asked, "Hey, do you think retail would move to a gig, like a gig model, or like you would have to check the app to see if there's a shift available?" And the guest who was on, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, was like, no, I don't think so. But then there is a company, I don't know what its status is right now, but they are trying to do exactly that for retail.
Actually, that was the economist from Wyoming, I believe. Irish, correct me if I'm wrong. Was that where they were from? Um, but if you think about that question, blame tag, what's DoorDash? What's Instacart?
Yeah, like I mean, I could totally see my employer doing that. Like, oh, we only need 3 people on the sales floor today, so better, be the first to log in and sign up for a shift.
Mm-hmm. Continue.
Okay, this one is from July of 2022, and it was young Mr. Munson, the story of a 6-year-old who got lost in a supermarket, and they made him a manager. Shortly after that, a few customer service businesses started to bring back child labor. They started to hire basically children. Not long after I posted that one.
Thank you, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Continue.
The next one was January of 23, and that was one of my favorites was Threat Level Chicken Sandwich, which was about increasing security based on what items are out of stock. And then it was, let me see if I wrote down. It was a month after I posted that a woman drove her SUV into a Popeyes because they were out of biscuits.
Yep. Continue. There's more.
February of, well, the rest are all this year. So February, I did an article about employees who wanted to get paid for having work dreams. So this one's a bit of a stretch, but it was actually very recently that there's a startup who are trying to use lucid dreaming to get people to work in their sleep. So I thought that was, that was kind of similar. There was an article I did that same month called Somebody That I Used to Employ about a manager who was basically treating an employee who had just quit like an ex, like they had just broken up. And then shortly after that, Kroger, our good friend Kroger, started texting their employees who had recently quit to try to get them to come back, kind of like a pathetic ex.
Oh, okay.
Then March was the Ron DeSantis Boots article.
Man, I just have
and
to say,
that became a major story. Yeah. And that was before he was even officially running, because when I reposted that last month, I had to edit a lot of it to say that he was actually running for president.
and that's crazy because I believe I was the first one to send you that, right?
possibly.
Yeah, because I saw that somebody had an entire, like a major news outlet had this whole thing about DeSantis's shoes, and
Yeah.
you had been on that like months prior. And I'm like, this shit's getting out of control.
It might just be because I live in Florida, and like you can see that he's got a thing for boots. Like he's always
Yes,
got the
he does.
deal. Like it's not new. He's a shoe slut. I said it in the article. He's a slut for shoes.
Well, I mean, and plus too, I mean, you when you're running for office or whatnot, it's no different than having boxes to stand on to make you look taller, right? But
Yeah.
I just found it so bizarre that you were ahead of that curve so early. And then I'm like, yo, dude, look, they're sniping your shit. I
I
mean,
mean,
how,
I
how does that make you feel?
I mean, pretty good. I'm surprised he hasn't come after me in the press. No, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah, right. But
I mean, it could be like to play devil's advocate that he was just more in the limelight because he got a lot farther than I think most people think he would or thought he would.
that's true
Or
too.
how much farther he can go with what gas he has left. But yeah, I think it might have just been that him and his big fucking boots walking out into the spotlight.
Yeah. Now, I know you had two examples that you had sent me that were pretty blatant. So go ahead and share those with us real quick.
Um, One of them was the Harvard Business Review. Let me see if I have that on my phone. Oh, there it is. Yep. That was a Harvard Business Review. The headline: How One Late Employee Can Hurt Your Business. Data from 25 million time cards.
Hmm.
Almost the exact plot of my article, my Pulitzer-winning article, Watley's Recession.
Correct.
One employee basically crashing the economy.
Correct.
The other one, again, good friend of ours, Business Insider, who I'm kind of fucking them up tomorrow morning if you're subscribed to the Serving Times, just so you
Oh,
know.
sweet.
Yeah. So mine was new studies reveal that the cashier is not in love with you. She's just doing her job. Shortly after, this one from Insider: cashiers aren't flirting. That's just what niceness feels like.
Right. So that brings us to the crux of all this. Now, look, like I said, we're not exactly refined here. We are not everybody's cup of tea. But I wanted to do it, but since it's almost 2,000 followers, it was kind of hard to screenshot everybody. But if you go to Twitter and you go to the Retail War Zone and you click on followers, and most likely you're going to get the most hits under verified. We've had a lot of people, and I mean a lot, snooping around us from about the end of year one. Okay. And I'm not going to say that it's provable, but there have been, I mean, Blametag, how many times have you tagged me in a post saying, well, Generation Void said this such and such time? Right?
Oh, I didn't even think to check that, but I'm sure like
A,
dozens.
a lot.
Yeah.
And then anytime I see anything you've ever referenced, I'm tagging you. I'm like, yo, you predicted the future again. You know, the orcas, bro. I mean, how can we forget that?
Oh, that was the last one. Yeah, I didn't get to the end of my list,
Yeah,
but that was the last
do
one.
that
Yeah.
one.
That one was the article. The lobbyists were trying to get Congress to step in and stop the orcas, but it was really about that they didn't want their yachts damaged. And then, like within a week, the Atlantic put out an article that was like, I'm sure it's famous by now, by Jacob Stern. That was just kind of like, hey, our orcas are assholes and fuck them, basically.
Yes. Big Quit Energy. Yes. Serving Times is on Substack. I'm on Substack. Adria is on Substack. Adria, would you put your link to your Substack in the chat if you're still with us? But yeah, so when you look at like the
Sorry, I
followers,
gotta
or
Psycho
whatnot.
cat running around here.
What's that?
Sorry, there's a psycho cat running around here for
Hey,
hearing
we
all
all
this.
have psycho cats, but but you know, it's kind of convenient. You know, one thing that sticks out to me um, is our dollar store coverage, our Dollar Tree stuff. That's the one I've seen the most movement on. And believe it or not,
We had a big one on that, yeah.
yes, believe it or not, when we had blank stares on after she left Dollar Tree, okay, that, from that point on is just about our most listened to episode. Now, I worked at Dollar Tree and I know people that still work there. I'm sure they listen to it or whatnot. But way back when we did an episode about dollar stores, and yes, I sourced information from other publications, but I find it really odd that all of a sudden we do this big, huge thing. We had several episodes about Dollar Tree and dollar stores. That shortly thereafter, a major publication was parroting exactly what we were saying. Now, I'm not saying that it's malicious in intent. I'm not saying that we're getting ripped off. However, I have enough common sense to know, being around this business and talking to journalists and whatnot, they're going, you have major journalists going to Reddit looking for input, okay?
I was
That's,
gonna say, yeah, Irish can tell you that. Like,
yeah, that's the world we're in. If they're going to social media to like Reddit to get people to talk, don't think for a minute they're not going to scoop in on, they can see a thumbnail and be like, oh, that's kind of like what I want to talk about, and listen to it and get some things from it. Because the one thing I will say about what we do, whether you like us or not, is we have people here that have been in the trenches or still are in the trenches. We still do this for a living, right? We work it every single day, whether it be grocery, hard lines, soft lines, whatever. We're a community of people who are still there seeing this stuff evolve in real time. And I guess my big thing here is this: there are several people from the media that are followers on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't care if you call it Muscoville for all I care. I'm 100% convinced that they scope out the stuff we do and they snoop around. I mean, like I said, if you look at we have people from CNN. There's people there. All right, they may never interact with us, but they're watching. And maybe they take the cleaner bits of what we do and the less ranty bits, and they turn it into something else, and that's fine. And also with the serving times, I've seen that tremendously. I mean, we joke about it and we talk about Blametag predicts the future. Bro, there's so much stuff they're scooping from you and I that we've done. And I'm not mad about it. I'm not like gonna be like the guy who's trying to sue Rockstar right now for the GTA 6.
Florida Joker, yeah.
Yeah, the Florida Joker. I'm not doing that. But what I would like to say is this: if there are any of you out there that work for major media that are coming in and you're looking at what I do, or you're looking at what Blametag does, do the proper thing and reach out. We clean up kind of nice. I can promise you that. All right, we can deal with professional people just fine. But we have seen. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I'm always willing to talk about myself if anyone
Right.
wants to talk to me.
All we ask for is anonymity when we need it. Like in my case, I'm never going to reveal where I work because I'm happy with where I work, and it's different than everything I cover. Blametag, on the other instance, he's pretty much anonymous all the time, and he's going to stay anonymous. But have some balls. If you're going to come in and like scoop something we've done, whether it be on the serving times or the war zone, have some balls. reach out. We're not. Neither one of us are asking for money, right? I mean, Blametag, your stuff's a free subscription, right?
Yeah. I mean, I have a merch store, but yeah, I'm not going to charge subscriptions for the serving times. That seems crazy to me.
Yeah, same thing. I've said this for eons. I don't have a Patreon. I sell merch. If you want to buy merch, that's great. I'm not asking anybody for any money, but I think both of us would appreciate it if you're coming in and you're scooping, like if you're sitting down and you're watching an entire episode of the Retail War Zone, or you're sitting down and reading an entire Serving Times article and you like it and you want to use it, we're not asking you for money, we're asking you for respect. So if any of you out there are doing this, reach out to us. I mean, I've got right here on the screen an email address. You can reach Blametag through Substack.
Am I allowed to name names?
Sure, go right ahead.
Have some balls, John Oliver, and credit our work.
Oh, the John Oliver thing. Oh, you had to bring that up, didn't you?
Of course I was going to bring that up.
Fuck. So, yeah, that's another thing. But here's the thing. John Oliver didn't pick that shit out. His people, his handlers picked that out. You know,
yeah,
we went
Daniel O'Brien, senior writer for John Oliver.
Who?
He's actually, I used to read Daniel O'Brien. Yeah, I used to read his stuff on Crack, but he's working for John Oliver now.
So that is what, man, why you got to get me fired up? We already did this one time, damn it. You love this shit, don't you? But yeah, so John Oliver does this whole Dollar Tree thing, and if I'm not mistaken, I watched the video. He talked to employees and stuff, right? Well, guess what? We done that, and guess what? I'm not even taking credit for that. Reddit's been doing that for years. John Oliver, I worked for Dollar Tree, fucker. I'll go on your show. I don't care. Now, if I'm going to be on TV, you're going to have to pay me some money. I'm just saying it right now. You're going to have to buy me a sandwich or some shit. But here's the deal. That one got to me because, Blametag, how soon was that from the exit interview?
I'd have to look up the dates, but definitely within a month.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't have a British accent, and I don't have a television platform. I'm just here on lonely YouTube, and, you know, we just out here spitting facts and whatnot, so to speak. But, yeah, that one got me. And who was the person who, was it Karen Harrison, I believe, that sent that our way? I'm 100% sure it was Karen.
I think it was, yeah.
I was like,
I do actually watch it every week, but
I was like, what the fuck? We just did this like 4 times in a row almost, because we had blank stares on while she was still there. And I just want to let you guys know, I mean, she's no longer with Dollar Tree, but when we had her on the first time, she was literally at work. I can see she was in a Dollar Tree office when we had that conversation. And, you know, if you're willing to sit at your job and come talk to us about how bad it is, man, that's some impressive shit. So I don't know.
I got the date. So all right, so you did exit interview on October 11th, and it looks like the John Oliver episode was November 20th.
It's about a month. But at the same time, too, I mean, I'm not trying to take credit for that or anything, but, you know, if you've got people sourcing material for a show, because John Oliver's weekly, is that right?
Yeah.
So you got to think they got a backlog. You know, they've got, you know, weeks in advance scheduled. So, I mean, it's possible. But, yeah, fuck John Oliver. John Oliver, he's never worked in a Dollar Tree. You could say whatever you want and talk about it with your British accent and whatnot. Go work in one, then come talk to us. When you do that, John Oliver, hey, you'll be my hero. And that's the other thing that pisses me off, too.
I am actually a fan of John Oliver, but, like, have some balls and admit to it, John Oliver. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Like I said, the community at large that we have, we're in the industry. We work it. We do it. It is kind of irritating to have people tell, quote unquote, our stories who've never set foot in it. And that's why I was so pleased with the Chipotle outcome. You know, the lady who threw her Chipotle food or whatnot, and the judge said, guess what? You got to work in a fast food restaurant. That's fucking
Burrito Bowl,
justice.
yeah.
You know, but, you know, John Oliver, that's great. You have a shtick, you have a persona, you have a character that you play. But if somebody told you had to work in a Dollar Tree for a day, you wouldn't make it 3 hours.
In
At
fairness,
best.
I don't think he'd say he'd make it.
No, I mean, he would admit that he wouldn't. But that's the other thing. When you have people that are performers, people that, you know, are in the public eye, you know, that's the thing too. I mean, we talked about a long time ago, like if we had a celebrity that was going to champion the retail worker plight, who would it be? And in hindsight, no one, because they wouldn't do the job. And we have a lot of people out there, you know, like a John Oliver or whoever, whatever news anchor, you know, some of these people, yeah, they may have worked like retail when they were in high school for a few years before they went to college, but they don't have the deep-seated hatred and deep-seated knowledge that a lot of us have because we've been in it in our entire lives. It was a passing moment for them, and I think it's pretty in you know, it's not proper, in my opinion, for the media, if they have not had any real-time experience in the business, to report on it. What's your take on that, Blametag?
Um, well, I kind of like going back to I think Adria said it in the chat. That the media always steals from the working class, and like I always feel that like with the insider articles and stuff when they're when they say they want to tell our stories, but they're only doing it for the clicks. But it's still a form of exploitation. Like the whole quiet quitting thing, when they're saying they're telling our stories from the point of view of, look at this trend. These fuckers aren't doing anything quiet quitting. Yeah, they're not really telling our stories and they're exploiting us. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little repetitive, but
No, it's fine.
yeah, but if they knew what it was like to be in our position, then, it would be more than just, oh, here's an interesting story that we're gonna milk as many buzzwords out of it as we can to get clicks rather than actually doing something that would help our situations. And, they haven't been in that situation, so they don't give a shit enough of a shit to do anything to help the situation.
And that's a good point too. Is we talk about how retail workers are treated. We talk about what the work conditions are. We talk about payroll. We've covered that whole gamut. But we've never really covered about how the media makes money off reporting the plight of retail employees. You've got people that have never worked retail that are collecting a paycheck, telling somebody's story, who will never see the money that the reporters see.
Yeah, and that's like the whole thing, because that's all. Yeah, they don't care, and they don't even get a lot of them. Like Washington Post went on strike recently. Business Insider was on strike last year. I think I saw Chicago Tribune is about to walk out. Like, they don't treat their staff any better.
You're right, but here's the thing: there's levels. Those people that went on strike are making leaps and bounds more than your average retail worker. And they're going on strike. And this is the thing. Now, look, I'm not saying that there's any animosity there, but it's funny. You look at like some legions of business that go on strike. They're in a way hell of a bigger pay grade than, like, say, retail. All right. So let's say we'll just use Hollywood, for instance. So we have the writer's strike and all that, right? They got theirs. Are they championing the little people? No. They got theirs. They got what they wanted. And it's this big, huge headline. Oh, Hollywood went on strike. And these are the most powerful people in the world, really, if you think about it, because entertainment people kind of run everything. It's the people who make the most money, who make the most noise, and get the most things moving. Okay, cool. You won that. Fran Drescher's talking about how AI and all this other stuff with actors and actresses and all that's great. You have that power. Why don't you take that power and transfer it and say, you know what, let's go for another cause. Let's help out the little guy. That doesn't happen. Because when you look at a Hollywood strike, especially like an actor strike, you're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? When you look at grocery stores and retail, they're just looking for a living wage. So there's a lot of people that'll say solidarity, in striking. But the reality is there's only solidarity if you're in their class.
Well, one thing with like the Hollywood strikes too is, at least from what they said, at least like the talking points were, all the big actors who they can afford to strike, they can afford to be out of work for a while. Like they were on strike for all the people below them, the extras and the people who actually run the show. I forgot the name of their union. Like they were on strike so that get a better deal for those people on the bottom. And going back to retail is like we don't have those people who can afford to get out of work for us, for other retail workers. So
right, we're the bottom feeders.
Yeah.
And so Big Quit Energy's posted, the most delicious irony is that all the media people who browbeat labor and vilify unions are themselves in unions. Correct. And then Ira says, but you should do an article on Rockstar sending researchers in retail to build realistic NPCs, and then they have to write ridiculous scripts of NPCs that can't use self-checkouts, fitting rooms, etc. But, I mean, here's the thing. There's been a lot of union movement, all right? A lot. Okay? But let me ask you who you need for just a minute. So Hollywood has a union. The actors and actresses got their money. Who do you need more? Tom Cruise? Or the person who makes sure your self-checkout experience is okay? Mind you, I said need. Not want. Need. Who do you need more? And that's the problem. I hate the fact that the media posts that, the actor strike's over. We do not need any of them. Not a single one. Our lives would go along just fine if there was not a movie ever made again. Because we have real world problems. We have kids, we have families, we have bills to pay, we have groceries to buy, mortgages to pay, car bills to pay, etc. We do not need entertainers. I'm a musician, and I love music, and Kiss is my favorite band. They just recently retired, supposedly, but I do not need Kiss to survive. So why are we championing an industry who got their quote-unquote comeuppance and their due that we don't fucking need? And yet all of us that, we're sitting here making money. I mean, the cost of living keeps going up and blah, blah, blah. Hey, guess what? The union people who won in Hollywood, they can afford all this shit. Us on the ground, we cannot. We do not need them. So why do we brag about entertainment winning a union battle? Pro athletes. I love football. I love pro wrestling. All right. There's tons of things I love. Guess what? Our lives would continue going without them. Why do we, I've said this before. Why do pro football players make more than teachers? But we as a nation accept it, and we buy expensive sporting tickets and things like that. Why? We don't need a football team at all. We need the money to survive and feed our families and make sure everybody's okay. So I get really sick and tired of these high echelon groups talking about unions and whatnot and what they won, because we don't need a fucking one of them at all. You could take out sports, you could take out entertainment. Hell, I'm a video game player. You could take out video games. We can live without those. But why is that so important? Blametag, your thoughts?
I mean, there's a few video game franchises I wouldn't want to live without.
I mean, true, but I'm just saying in the grand scope of things, sir.
I mean, yeah. Like I said, there are a lot of people in the entertainment industry who are on the bottom, and hopefully those unions help them. I honestly don't know that they do. I haven't looked into it. Trying to look on the upside of that, maybe it'll, when people see their heroes are championing the unions, maybe they'll start thinking unions aren't so bad, and stop listening to the political talking points that unions are poison and whatever, and I don't know, maybe make it a more popular idea. I don't know.
Well,
Trying to be positive about it.
Yeah, I agree with Erica. I mean, all workers, regardless of sector or industry, need unions. But if you're championing the ones that make millions of dollars, and the struggle is for the people that are in unions that are trying to get by, that's a problem. Because COVID proved that we needed the essentials far more than we needed Hollywood and entertainment, didn't it?
Yeah, like I can give two fucks if Gwyneth Paltrow's in a union
right.
or not, but the person making her, I don't know, fucking goop pussy egg, I mean, they should be in a union.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. When we were all forced to work because we were essential, Hollywood was not essential. It was us, ladies and gentlemen, making sure you had toilet paper. So I guess this makes me, and I agree with Erica. All businesses need unions. All of them do. I agree. But when every major news outlet, their headline is Hollywood's union, we got a problem. Because there was a report that came out recently that like a rather large percentage of single family homes that were up for sale are now owned by hedge funds. Wrap your head around that. We're moving to a society. This is something Hero and I talked about today, something she brought up. We're moving to a society where you own nothing.
Oh, I don't even want to tell you about the new Bezos project.
What's that?
That's where you can be an investor with other people in single family homes. So you could own 5% of someone's home.
Right.
And
so there you go.
Yeah.
This is where we're heading. And I guess that's why I went off this tangent on the unions with Hollywood. Hey, okay, Angelina Jolie, you got an extra $1 million. That's great. That's $1 million some of us will never fucking see.
She's gonna do that buying more kids anyway.
Right. And eat spiders and weird shit. But that's the point, is how come in the media the workforce is portrayed in such a poor manner? Hence what we've been talking about the coverage and whatnot. They'll spin it. They'll try to talk about what our issues are, but they always end up with like a manager or some CEO or something to try to spin it the other way, right? But oh my God, if Hollywood can't get their shit together, we're going to fail as a country. I mean, that's really how the reporting comes out. We're worried about the wrong people. Those fuckers have more than enough money. They can live comfortably the rest of their lives. The ones of us that don't have it, we're the ones that need to be on the front page of the news. We're the ones that need to be getting the public support. Not Hollywood, not the NFL, not the NCAA,
yeah, not
the NBA.
John Oliver either.
John Oliver as well. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And it's just, it's maddening to me. And when you talk about the things we've covered on episodes and things you've written, some of it gets scooped and scoped, and that's great, and we can't prove it, right? But you have people that make more money than us using the shit we talk about to make even more money, and that's kind of fucked up. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I
All
have said this to numerous
marks.
people. You're a brilliant writer. Your shit is amazing.
Oh, thanks. I do like compliments.
I know you do. But your stuff's great. You're an absolutely fantastic writer. And I think one day, as long as the community stays together, sometime down the road, you really are going to wind up being the Simpsons of retail. I just want you to know that. Predict the next president or some shit coming down an escalator and we'll be good to go. You know. But
I don't
anyway,
think I predicted that one would be very good, if
you
not for.
never know. You might hit it.
I meant like not good for the country.
Oh, well, okay. I understand that. So, having said that, we're at 57 minutes. I want you to give a closing statement on whatever you want to talk about. This is all you. Go ahead.
um, First off, I did see your idea earlier, Irish. I wrote that down about the NPCs in the store. Sorry, I'm going through my notes here.
Go right ahead.
The other one was runs with scissors. Yeah, I am gonna look at that Maricopa County attorney thing. That seems interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Get your flowers, Blametag.
Get my flowers.
Yeah. Talk your shit up. Go. What?
Oh,
What do you have coming?
oh, well, I'm trying to be more productive. I was working on this project with the Christmas Carol, but I kind of burnt out on it, so I don't think that's going to be done. I do got one tomorrow making fun of Business Insider again. I've got another one I need to get edited. Just generally need to get better at being productive. But yeah, follow the serving times. I really do appreciate all the support I get from you guys. I wouldn't be doing it without you. Um, yeah, thank you for that.
Awesome.
It's growing every day. Subscribe, share.
Exactly. Because he's going to predict the future. I promise you. So
Yeah.
I'm looking in the
On my
chat.
page two, sorry, on my page two, there are links to Adria's. I know people were looking for it.
Awesome. All right. So on Blaine Tag Substack, there's links to Adria's. I see this in the chat. Adria and runs with razors. Let me ask you, in the very near future, next couple of weeks, would both of you be interested in being on the show talking about the Kroger merger? Just curious. Just throwing that out there.
I can't believe you haven't had Adria on yet. That's
Not
on you,
yet.
man.
Yeah. This is pretty hot. I would say so. Erica says yes. Adria. We're waiting. Okay, cool. I will message you two over the next few days. Not tonight, because as soon as I get done with this, I got some other stuff I got to do. But expect to hear from me in the next 48 hours. We'll set that up. That's something I would like to do. I'd love to have Adria on the show. We haven't had her yet. That'd be great. But having said that, listen, guys, we appreciate everything you do. I've taught Irish going through the end of the year. Where, this is probably going to be the most heavy episode we've had, in the past few weeks or whatnot. And the next one, we'll probably have one more before the end of the year, and it'll be light as well. Okay. When we go into January, things are going to start to ramp up again. There's a statistic thing, there's a timeline thing, there's all sorts of things going on in the background that comes along with doing this as long as we have. And I think we're coming up on 4 years, which is crazy. I mean, it might be three if you actually map it out. If you go by year, it'd be four. But, actually doing this would be three. And there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming. I appreciate any input you guys give. If there's something you want us to cover, let us know. You can email me. You can message Irish. You can message Blametag, because Blametag's part of the team as well. There's a lot of things we can do. But we're going to end, 2023 on a fairly light note. And when that's over, I'm going to try to get my head right, social media wise. and we're really going to push hard next year. I just want everybody to know that we're going to start revisiting topics that Irish and I talked about at the very beginning. We're going to get minimum wage. We're going to start to regurgitate some stuff, but we're a little bit more educated now, and it's going to have a little bit different flair. So there's going to be topics we covered way, way, way back in year one that we're going to be bringing up. There'll be guests. There'll be all sorts of stuff. So, having said that, Blametag, you got any last words?
Um, the only thing for Hero is we probably should look into if you can be a Kerrygold affiliate because you can get paid every time someone buys a stick of butter.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean,
It's just free advertising right
and,
now. I mean,
oh, and that's another thing. I mean, Blametag, you talk about serving times is AI free, right? That's great. The war zone's just fucking free. All right. I've had people say you need to have a Patreon. No, I'm not doing any of that shit. We're just gonna keep doing what we're doing. So, um, you know, there may come a time where there's something cool that goes on behind the scenes that you pay for, but that's a long ways down the road. But as far as podcasting goes, I ain't charging anybody for shit. So, knowledge is free, and I like ranting from time to time. So that's what it is. So having said that, everybody have a great night. We will probably not see you until after Christmas. So enjoy your holiday. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving and stay safe. I'd like to see everybody make sure that they're in one piece come January when we fire this thing back up for sure. There might be one more episode in December. I don't know yet. But when we hit January, we hit 2024, we're going to hit the ground running. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for everybody who supports us. Thank you for participating in the chat. Like Blametag said, we wouldn't be doing this without you because it'd be a waste of time at that point. So thank you for everything you guys provide, everything you guys do, and we will see you next time. Peace out.